Hello everyone. Thank you for joining Experimental Civics and our Design Thinking for Social Good series. This is Module 3, Affinity Mapping, and is one of the 6 design thinking tools that we will be sharing with you. What is affinity mapping? We love to define and redefine words, so let's start with affinity. What does affinity actually mean? Affinity can be a spontaneous or natural liking or sympathy for someone or something. And it can also mean a similarity of characteristics suggesting a relationship, especially a resemblance in structure. As for mapping, we want to create a diagram that visually shows how things connect or are similar to one another. If they are at all. Who knows? This activity helps to uncover these things. What are the benefits of affinity mapping? Affinity mapping is based on affinity diagrams, which were invented by Jiro Kawakita in the 1960s and comes in handy after brainstorming sessions. The 3 benefits are: 1. You can cluster your data. Using an affinity map, you can start to understand the data that you have collected by playing around with different clusters. You can build out categories and meta-categories. Once you have them, you can see how you structure your ideas. For example, bike lanes can fall under the category for public safety or for transportation. 2. You can connect embedded patterns. As soon as you have items and categories to work with, you can begin connecting embedded patterns. For example, what is the missing link between bike lanes, public safety, and transportation? And can we take a deeper dive by researching bike accidents and fatalities that have occurred? And can we add in the idea of a sensor which tracks the flow of traffic and gather information on bike accidents? And which demographics are we concerned with here? And have we thought about youth who use those bike lanes, especially near high schools? You will likely find yourself adding in data points. And then, 3. You can redo it for further discovery. Yes, this means taking all of the categories and throwing them in the trash. Let's make new categories, which are usually more specific. So instead of public safety and transportation, perhaps we add youth mobility. Who knows? The possibilities are meant to be expansive. The power behind using design thinking tools like affinity mapping is how you can keep sorting and resorting. Unlike the sorting hat in Harry Potter, there isn't one decision for you or one chosen correct way of sorting. I've also found that this activity has a visceral, physical element to it, where people are clustered around whiteboards filled with post-it notes and ideas. Remember, the primary key to this activity is the recognition of patterns. I also want to discuss 2 pitfalls to be mindful of when affinity mapping. First, if you have too many clusters, the data just gets lost. So having 10 data points and 10 categories does nothing for the matchmaking. Second, on the other end, having too few clusters means there are no patterns. If everything is lumped under one category, there is no diversity. Okay, a quick recap. The 3 benefits of affinity mapping are: 1. You can cluster your data. 2. You can connect embedded patterns. 3. You can redo it for further discovery. How can affinity mapping be used for social good projects? We have used affinity mapping as an ideating tool on multiple occasions and with different age ranges. For example, at Open IDEO Austin at the IBM Design Lab, which focused on the topic mental health and social isolation, we began with a reflective exercise. Then we delved into affinity mapping with the whole group. Just as we shared before, everybody created data points and categories, and then did it all over again. Another time was for Microsoft at a STEM Field Day event, where we had over 130 third graders ideate on how they would improve their city and their educational experience. Analyzing affinity mapping. You have run your activity, but now what? You've managed to capture all of this data and information, but you don't know what to do with it. There are multiple ways you can harness your data. Here are some ideas. Keep track of the patterns discovered and turn them into project ideas or exploratory paths. Create word clouds of the most common themes along with the words that arose to the surface. Treat each category as its own project and delegate work to teams to further explore and research each one. Ask the brainstormers about their experience. Did they feel that they uncovered more after the activity? What was different for them? What did they learn? Have fun with affinity mapping. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We will see you in the other modules.